Welcome everybody back. Oh, we are back again with a brand new episode of the Motivate Grind Succeed podcast. I'm your host, Rashawn. Of course, as you already know, I've been with you all for so many episodes, you all already know. But today we have a fantastic guest on the show. We have Mr. Frank Williams. Everybody give it up for Frank Williams. And Frank, I know they can't hear you, but I know that, hey,
That's
they're
okay.
all
I
applauding.
appreciate
They're
it.
applauding.
I appreciate you having me.
All right. So, guys, if y'all don't know who Frank Williams is, Frank is a life coach and a motivational speaker, and he believes that he has a unique and interesting story. And I definitely agree. And we'll let him go through that story in a little bit so you all can kind of get the gist of how he is as a person. And this is a story from when he was back in his days as a correction officer. So that should be really, really interesting. And he experienced a dangerous situation with an inmate, and that quickly escalated. So, however, the lessons that Frank got from that situation had a huge impact on his life. And he's here to help share some of those lessons with us. Thank you, Frank. And unfortunately, though, I have to give a little bit of bad news, though. Frank cannot rewrite your history. I'm sorry.
That's correct.
He can't do it. I can't do it. He can't do it. Sadly, nobody can do it. However, there is the gold pot at the end of the rainbow. He can help you write an absolutely amazing future. So, without further ado, Frank Williams, welcome to the show. How are you today, my good sir?
I am doing great, Sean. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. That is fantastic. I'm so glad you're able to make the time today to come on the show and talk to us and deliver your expertise. And I have a feeling it's going to be a great show. And let's just have fun with this. Let's have a free flowing conversation as we always do with all the other guests. And let's just have a good time here.
Sounds good.
All right. So as we start off with most of the guests, usually I like to start them off by saying, what is your backstory? Take us from little Frank Williams up to where you are now. How was your life from young until now? How did you get to what you're doing now? So just like walk us through your story.
Sure. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and during those years, I was a very good ball player. Had been scouted by many professional baseball teams. Went to college, played some ball, finished my career in a semi-pro ball. After this semi-pro career ended, I fell in love, got married. I have three beautiful daughters that the best daughters a father could ever ask for. I went into law enforcement, and two questions I get asked often as to why I became a life coach and a motivational speaker. And the first one had to do with why I decided to become a life coach. The floor I was assigned to was the floor where all the inmates were in for murder or manslaughter. And one day on the floor, I was in the lobby area, and two inmates had come off the elevator, and they were going back to their cells. But I noticed the one gentleman, he stood about 6'4", 250 pounds, and the other gentleman stood about maybe 5'4", 130 pounds. But it was the big guy I was concerned about because he was just angry. I could see him. He was frustrated. I had no idea why, but I knew right away I had to get this man back into his cell as quickly as possible. So I went over to the control room panel, and I knocked on the window, and I motioned for the officer to open up the Sally Port gate. Now, the Sally Port is a small area that you step into, and the gate has to close behind you before the gate to the inmate housing area opens up. So we all step in, and the gate closes behind us, but the cell door to the inmate housing area doesn't open. And I could see this big gentleman, this inmate, just the rage in this man was unbelievable. And he's looking at the other inmate, and he's telling me, he says, I don't care what they do to me. There's nothing else they could do to me. I don't care. The rage in this man was unbelievable. I'd never witnessed anything like this before. He was just a time bomb waiting to explode. So he looks at the other inmate and he says, you know what? I'm going to kill somebody else. And I knew it was coming. He looked at me, he pointed to me, and he said, I'm going to kill you. The next thing I knew, we were face to face. Now, this gentleman was there physically, but mentally, he was gone. The rage in this man's eyes was unbelievable. Having studied the martial arts for many years, I saw an opening. And I said to myself, on the count of three, you have to do something because this man is going to go crazy. So I started counting, and 1, 2, I don't get to 3. The other inmate squeezes in between us, pushes the big inmate back and says to him, "What the hell do you think you're doing to Officer Williams? Threaten to kill this man? He's the only officer that's ever been kind to us and treated us fairly." He looks at the small inmate, looks at the big guy and says, "Now you apologize to Officer Williams before I kill you." This big guy looks down at me. He looks out the floor. He comes over. He puts his hand out and he says, "Officer Williams, I'm sorry." No sooner does he finish that sentence that the cell to the inmate housing area opens up and they go inside. Now, I had steel bars behind me. I had a concrete wall to the right. I had steel bars to the left of me. And the inmate, the big guy, had steel bars behind him. I knew it wasn't going to end well. But thank God, everything worked out to be okay. But it was after the incident that I couldn't help but wonder how this man's life could have changed if something or someone had intervened at an earlier stage in his life to have shown him or given him the tools and the resources to make a better decision in life and to live a better quality of life. So that was my decision. It was because of that incident that I decided that someday when I was finished with law enforcement, that I would become a life coach and to help as many people as I possibly could. And over the years, it has been fantastic. The second story has to do with a young inmate that I met. One of my responsibilities was to serve the inmates chow, lunch, and breakfast. And I had inmates that worked for me. And one day, this one inmate that worked for me had gotten into an argument with an inmate online. So I went over and I broke it up. After the inmates went back to their housing units, I spoke to this young man and I said to him, I said, "Listen," I said, "you have a great thing going here." I said, "But if you do this again, I have to fire you." He looked me right in the eyes and said, "Officer Williams, I don't care. I have 60 years to go." Rashawn, I was stunned. I couldn't believe it. This young man was 21 at the time and isn't going to see the outside of a prison wall till he's 81.
Man.
And it was because of this young man that I made a promise to myself, again, that when I was done with law enforcement, I would speak to every high school kid and college kid that I possibly could to let them know that life can be incredible, but you have to have the right mindset for it. Now, you're going to have your roadblocks along the way, but life could be incredible if you know this, if you have the skills and the resources. So it was because of this young man that I decided to become a motivational speaker and hopefully help change the lives of many kids, or any kid that would listen to me. but it's been a great journey, and it is nice to be able to help people find the right direction or to help them transform their lives. It's just an incredible feeling. So those are the two reasons why I became a life coach and a motivational speaker.
Man, that is an impactful story. Wow.
Yeah.
I knew the story was impactful, but that's purposely why I didn't ask ahead of time. So I'm like, this story sounds real good. I want to be able to kind of blind react to it myself. And man,
right.
that is incredible. And also as someone who's taken martial arts before, even though what to do, it's still that fight or flight response still kicks in. You're just like, oh man, this is actually happening right now. Yeah. So
yeah,
I know. Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. It is. You could be a black belt or whatever, but you never know how that situation is going to turn out. And with the anger in this gentleman, the rage was unbelievable. Somebody was going to get seriously hurt. That was the unfortunate part if it did escalate any further.
Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you that even though both of you are thinking someone's going to get hurt, you all both were also saying it's not going to be me. So that's
correct.
That's the other dangerous part too.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
because
yeah, go ahead.
No, because I wasn't sure what the other inmate was going to do. So that was my concern. But when he squeezed in between us and pushed the big gentleman back, then I knew pretty much we were okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank God for that other inmate, because otherwise that would have been a very messy situation. I'm not sure if you would be here today on this show, giving us this wonderfully impactful story of how your life changed because of it.
That's correct. Yeah, my life did change. because after that situation, every day that I wake up, I thank God for the day that I have and the opportunity to make my life better. Regardless of how small or how big it is, I have the opportunity to change to become better. And it was a great, it was an unfortunate experience, but at the same time, it pretty much was a blessing in disguise for me.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I guess that kind of leads into the first question that I had that I want to talk about. And it's you already gave the story about how you found your calling, but how can we relate that to other people? How do other people find their calling? Obviously, people are probably not going to find their calling through, being a corrections officer and getting into an absolutely scary life or death situation. But how would one go about finding their calling in life? Let's say they're like a college student and they're going through the proverbial motions, as you will, and they're just like, I'm going through this degree. And I know the end is around the corner, but what am I going to do after that? I don't know what I want to do. How does someone go about finding that calling of what they've been put on this earth to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. With my clients, the one thing I always ask is if you could do something that you truly, truly loved and not get paid for it, what would you do? Okay. And then I would get, all different kinds of answers. But what you have to find out is you really have to find out what truly motivates you, what inspires you to want to be better. Is it helping other people? Is it joining an organization where you're going to make a huge difference? You have to, the other thing too is you have to become aware of who you are as an individual.
Mm,
I'm also a certified mental skills coach. And what I do is I help people understand why they think the way they do. And a lot of people are lost because they're in a spot, they're confused, or maybe life hasn't been good to them. They have had so many setbacks. I call it the 3 Ds: decisions, determine, direction. Okay. Everything that we have done in our lives up to this point has been based on the decisions we've made. We choose who our friends are. We choose who our, you know, where to go on vacation. We choose a career. Now, the career is usually tough for people who really don't know in which direction to go. So there's a lot involved with it, but you have to be inspired by something. Something has to motivate you. And when I have clients, what I do is I look at their body language and I listen to what they tell me, and then based on that, I'll ask certain questions. But you have to be inspired. You have to want to, something that motivates you or that inspires you to become better is the direction that you should go into.
hmm. I absolutely 100% agree. That's and I've said it before on previous episodes, and I'm a broken record, but I will say it again. That is why I named the show exactly the way that I did: motivate, grind, succeed. You have to start with something that motivates you, and then after you find that motivation, that key thing has to be intrinsic. It can't be extrinsic. It can't be external. It has to be intrinsic from within you. Because if you depend on external motivation solely, it's going to die. It will die
That's
out
correct.
100%. It is not sustainable. I speak from experience. It is not sustainable to go based on just purely external motivation. So once you find that internal slash intrinsic motivation, that's when you get into the not pretty stuff, the grind, right? The grind, that's when the motivation then becomes discipline. It turns into discipline day in, day out. I know right before this call, you were saying you were up since 5. I was saying I was up since 6. Like it's just the daily thing. You just wake up, you do what you got to do, whether you like it or not. I mean, when we're recording this on a Saturday right now, right? Today is my day to clean the chore, to do the chores and clean the house up. Do I want to? Absolutely not. I don't really feel like cleaning at all, but it's the grind. It's the discipline. You have to do what you have to do day in, day out. And then eventually, whatever you see as a success to you, whether that be building a business or building a physique or starting a coaching program or whatever it may be, starting a podcast, YouTube channel, whatever it is for you that makes you seem like it'll be successful. Once you get the intrinsic motivation, turn it into that discipline, which is that grind that I call it, that's when you reach
Right.
that success. So yeah,
That's
I
correct.
wholeheartedly agree. Absolutely. And so that kind of funny, that kind of answers the second question that I had, which is how do we stay motivated after we find that calling? And I guess we kind of answered that already. But if you want to give a little more, a little like put some more flesh on the answer you were going to give before.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. To be able to move forward, what people need to understand is that life can be incredible, but at the same time, it's going to throw you a lot of roadblocks along the way. But you have to be consistent. You have to be determined that no matter what, you are going to achieve that goal. A lot of it has to do, through my own experience with clients, is a lack of self-esteem, not believing that they can do it. One of the things I suggest that my clients do to start out as far as building self-esteem, think of your brain as a computer. If you put in the software that's programmed to give you doubt, uncertainty, and fear, what do you think is going to show up in your life? Absolutely, doubt, uncertainty, and fear.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put in the software that's programmed to give you victory, courage, and strength, what do you think is going to show up? Victory, courage, and strength. We are the ones who put those thoughts in our heads. And a lot of times it has to do because we've been knocked down so many times in life. But when I speak in front of an audience, one of the things I say is, if you get knocked down 9 times, you get up 10. If you get knocked down 99 times, you get up 100. Because once you start building that confidence, you're going to see what you can accomplish. So don't ever, ever give up on yourself. It can happen. It's just going to take time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the best things you could do is either find somebody that has already succeeded in what you want to do, or get a life coach, because a lot of people are just looking for that support. And when you get that support, and what I enjoy, one of the best rewards for me is, as I go along with my clients, I see the confidence just build and build and build. I had a gentleman one time, he had been smoking for 25 years. He tried the patches, the gum, hypnosis, counseling, everything, and nothing worked. He came to me and he asked me if I could help him. And before I answered him, I paused for a second. I thought to myself, what a great challenge this would be for me, and what a great lifestyle change it would be for this man. But I knew that smoking was a very hard addiction to overcome. So I said to him, absolutely, I do want to try and help you do that. So our coaching sessions was on phone and by email. After the 3rd week, he calls me up and he says, can I take you out to lunch? And I said, sure. We go to lunch. We sit down at the table. He leans over the table and he looks at me and he says, we're done. And then he leans back. Now I think for just a couple of seconds, and I said to him, I understand. Smoking is a very hard addiction to overcome. Be proud of what you accomplished these last 3 weeks. He leans back over the table and he says to me, no, you don't understand. We did it. He says, I haven't had a cigarette in 3 weeks, the longest I have ever gone.
Wow.
Now, out of curiosity, I lean over the table and I ask, how is it that a man that smokes for 25 years has tried the gum, the counseling, the hypnosis, all of a sudden he decides he's changed in 3 weeks? He said, it was because of the way you helped me believe in myself. This man is smoke-free for 15 years.
That's amazing.
And all he did was believe in himself. And all I did was give him the tools and the resources to start believing in himself. But every time his wife sees me, she gives me a big hug. She says, thank you so much. This man achieved an incredible goal. And he gets all the credit for it.
Absolutely. Because yes, definitely, because smoking like that, it's not a simple thing that you could just break off and then just be done with it, right? And you were able to just tell him like, hey, believe in yourself. That's the main thing. You have to. It comes back to what we were talking about before. He wanted it for himself. He wanted it. He wanted to stop smoking more than anything else, which is why, like you said, he tried the gums, he tried the patches, he tried the hypnosis, he tried all these things. He really, really, really wanted it deep down, and he was willing to do whatever it took to be able to do that. And because he intrinsically wanted it, and no one else wanted it for himself more than himself, that's what helped him. And you just pretty much gave him the keys to unlock that ability, and that is absolutely fantastic.
That's exactly right. He wanted it bad enough, and he was determined to get it done. What he didn't realize was how fast he was going to start believing in himself, which for me was great to see. Because the body language changed. He was happier. He just achieved an incredible goal for himself.
hmm Absolutely. And while we're on the topic of goals, that's actually another one of the questions that I had. Look how well this conversation's flowing.
This is
Look at that.
great.
I know, right? We're going through everything that I had. This is nice. But, but yeah, but while we're on the topic of goals, I wrote that we all need goals, right? I published an episode or two in the past about goal setting as well, right? We all need goals. We all need something that we need to be working for, because I'm a firm believer that if you're not going forward in life, you're going backwards. If you're not progressing, you're regressing, simply because time doesn't stop. So therefore, if we're not doing something to better ourselves, naturally we're going to be getting worse with it, right? So
Correct.
how can we set achievable goals? And then to follow up with that, once we set those goals, how can we take steps towards achieving them?
The first thing you want to try and do is truly, again, like I said before, you need to become aware of who you are and what motivates you. And what I do is I tell most people, don't start out with big goals, start out with something small, okay? And then take the
Okay.
steps that way, okay? What happens is when people try to set goals and they don't achieve them in a short period of time, they tend to quit. Now, quitting is probably the easiest thing to do in the world, but why would you quit on yourself? Just start out with making small goals and achieve those goals. Then you go for a bigger goal. Okay. And then obviously you have short term goals, you have medium goals, and you have long term goals. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to set too many goals. I usually tell my clients, let's set anywhere between 1 and 3 goals. Okay. And then we work on those. Write your goals down. Another technique I use with my clients is visualization. Think about already having achieved it. So you write your goals down, you take it one step at a time, but you have to be consistent. You have to be determined. Nothing should ever get in your way. Now, there are times where goals you may not achieve them, but that's okay. Enjoy the journey because the journey is fantastic. But
Absolutely.
if you don't set goals, your life is just, it could be devastating that you haven't achieved anything, that you've quit too soon. People don't realize how incredibly strong and powerful they are to achieve greatness. And the nice thing about greatness, great success, is that it's defined differently by each and every one of us. So set yourself a few goals, work on the small ones, achieve those, and then you go for the bigger goals. Now, it has to do with decisions. Okay, the 3 Ds: decisions, determine, direction. Either when you make that decision to quit, you quit on yourself. A lot
Mm.
of people need somebody to help them, a mentor, or somebody that's already achieved that goal, or even a life coach. Now, a lot of people that I've found are a little hesitant to ask for a life coach because they feel like it's a sign of weakness. But actually, it's a tremendous amount of strength to ask for a life coach or to ask anyone for help because that's what's going to get you to achieve your goal. Most of the times, any goals that somebody achieves is because other people help them achieve it. But if you don't set your goals or if you don't write your goals down and work towards it, where you are today is where you're going to be 5 years from now. And then 5 years from now, you're going to look back and say, wow, I should have done something because I would have achieved, this goal or that goal. It takes a lot of time. But society, I think, in one way is, we all like instant gratification instead of working
Mm-hmm.
for something,
Yep.
that instant gratification. But the instant gratification comes when you take that step towards achieving your goal. And then more instant gratification comes when you take the next step to achieving that goal. And think about the gratification and the satisfaction and the tremendous feeling that you're going to feel when you achieve that goal. And you look back and you say, wow, it was a tough road, but I did it. In order to
Mm-hmm.
achieve your goals, you write them down. The other thing you have to do is if you want satisfaction in your life, the last 6 letters, if I in satisfaction, is action. You have to take
Wow. Yep.
massive action in order to achieve something meaningful in life. That's why I believe it's only 3% of the population ever achieve meaningful goals because they know what they're going to have to go through. Most people just quit on themselves. And I would tell your audience, to each individual that's listening to me, don't ever, ever, ever quit on yourself. You are so powerful and strong. You just have to be willing to go through the tough moments. And when you get to that end and you achieve that goal, it's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It is absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely, 100% agree. That right there is some impactful information right there, impactful quality stuff. Yes, I absolutely love that. So when you said it's strength to ask for a life coach, I know because I fall into that category of people who sometimes think I can just do it myself. I can just do it all myself. You know, it's fine. I can figure it out. I could do it. That's how I was throughout school. I'm like, I can do this myself. I have the capability. I have the intelligence. I can learn it throughout time. And it's true. I could do it myself. But the problem comes in where it was something that I can figure out on my own might take me 1, 2, 3, 5 months, a year, or something like that. When someone else who's already done that,
Right.
been there, done that, they can you could just say, hey, let me pick your brain for a little bit. Tell me how to fast track my way through this, so I don't have to spend a whole year of my life or a year of this being able to figure this out when it's already been figured out.
That's
Right.
correct. You're
That's
right.
number that yeah, that's number one takeaway that I got from it. Number two, what you were talking about being able to visualize and be able to put yourself into that mindset of this is what I want, this is how I'm going to get there, these are the goals that I'm going to set. That's law of attraction,
That's
right?
correct.
That is 100% law of attraction. And people sometimes will say law of attraction is just a bunch of humble mumbo jumbo. Well, it depends on how you put it. If you're the kind of person who says, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, and then you open your eyes and then you're just like, where's my $1 million? Like then of course you're going to think, okay, well this stuff doesn't work. But that's not how you work it. The point of the law of attraction is that you picture, okay, I want to be able to make $1 million by the time I'm 42 or something like that, or have a net worth of $1 million by the time I'm 42, for example. And then you keep visualizing that to yourself, keep telling yourself that. And then, like you said, the last words of satisfaction is action. You
That's
take
right.
action towards doing that. You don't just sit there on your butt and just say, well, I want the $1 million. I'm just going to wait for it to come to me. That's not at all how it works. You have to take action towards doing that and towards getting what you actually want and getting that goal. And then the third thing that also that popped into my head while you were talking about that is, have you ever heard of a guy named Jim Quick?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, oh no, that's fine. It's just Jim Quick. He was on another podcast that I was listening to, and he was talking about his S3, which stands for small, simple steps, right? So he was talking about breaking down goals as well, and he was saying that I think his example was going to the gym in the morning, right? So his example was, instead of making this big goal of I want to go to the gym and I want to do this workout, right? That for some people can be a very big, very daunting goal. So he said, okay, break down this goal into small, simple steps, which means steps that you can break your big goal down into, the things that you basically cannot fail. Like after you wake up, your example would be like, number one, just put on your running shoes. That's it. Just put on your running
Oh,
shoes. If you
right.
don't go to the gym, that's fine. At least you put on the running shoes, right? But then after you put on the running shoes, for example, and then it'll be like put on your running shorts or put on your shirt or pack your bag or grab your pre-workout or whatever else that you have, right? Those small steps that then accumulate. Because when he was talking, what I've actually found is that in a lot of people's lives, including my own, a lot of times the goals that we have, we tend to not want to do them or tend to not start on them because of that initial that initial inconvenience, that initial hump of just saying like, I really don't want to. It's that little fear of what's going to be after we start. But once you get started, once you get the ball rolling, it's so much more easy to just carry on with that momentum. So that's what I was reminded of when you were talking about that. So that was definitely good advice that you gave. So I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. The other thing, if I could add, is as you're going
Of course.
along developing your goals, every roadblock that you come across, okay, you should never quit. Okay, that roadblock, think of it as a friend. That roadblock is just telling you to take a different direction or try something new. Okay, but when we hit that roadblock, most people, get upset, frustrated, and I say, "Forget it, I'm not going to do this," and then they quit. Think of that roadblock as a friend, as the friend telling you, listen, just go a different way, whether you have to go over it, around it, under it, whatever you have to do. Because the goal you're trying to achieve, there are hundreds of thousands of people that have already accomplished it. So if they can
Mm-hmm.
do it, you could do it. That's all.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like I agree. If they could do it, you could do it too. And then the best thing is too, not only can you accomplish that goal, you're also not them, right? So let's say you want to be the next Usain Bolt, right? You want to be the next one of the fastest runners that there is known to humankind. You can't be Usain Bolt because only Usain Bolt can be Usain Bolt, right? You
That's
don't
right.
have you can even go through the exact same diet, you can go through the exact same workouts, through the exact same regimes. At the end of the day, you still don't have the muscles that he does, you don't have the tendons that he does, you don't have the connections in like physically in his body that he does, like the skeletal muscular connections. So you physically can't be him. But that's what makes it great because you can't be him because he's already him. You can be the best you and make the name for yourself. So
That
you can be you can pave your, like you said, pave your own path. Sure, you might get to the roadblock of you can't do this, right? But like you said, there's always a detour. Like when I mean, you can relate this to driving on the road, right? You're going down this certain path. Google Maps, Waze, whatever you use says go down this road. Okay, you're going down this road, and then an unexpected detour comes or an unexpected roadblock comes up. What do you do? Does the traffic doesn't just stop,
right.
right? Traffic doesn't just stop. You don't just sit there till they clear it up. Chances are there's always a detour. You can go around. It might not be as efficient. It might not be. You might have to add 5-10 minutes to your commute time of wherever you're going, but you're still getting around that, and you're still once you get back on the main road, you're now progressing to wherever you need to go, right?
That's
So I guess
correct.
the point I'm trying to make it that is that I do agree with you. You should see roadblocks 100% as your friends. They're not something to stop you because if you see the roadblocks as something to stop you, it comes back to what you said before. You're going to end up wanting to quit on yourself. You're just going to keep going, 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 and then you're just going to get to this roadblock and say, "Oh, I got to a roadblock. Can't do it. I guess this wasn't meant for me." And then you just stop and then you quit. And then you might try something else and you go, 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 go. Oh, roadblock. Oh, I guess it wasn't for me. Then you stop and then you quit. And then that the problem that then arises from that is that you start a whole bunch of things and you never stick with one, and so you become that jack of all trades, master of none. And you might have a lot of good information in your head about a whole bunch of different things, but then you never really specialized in one thing, so you never really built yourself up in one specific avenue, one specific facet. And because of that, now you just kind of become, sure, you could become that guy who's like, yeah, he knows a lot of stuff, he might be very informative of things, but I can't really like go to him and ask him specifically about that. Like, for example, I know I can come to you and I can say, hey, I need help in my life with XYZ. And I know because you're a life coach, you specialized in being a life coach, I know I can get specialized help from you. If you just did like every old thing, you did a little bit of life coaching here, you did a little bit of fitness stuff there, you did a little bit of podcasting there, a little bit of YouTube there, I can get general advice about what to do with life coaching, but I can't specialize. So I can't get as far as I want to get with this specific avenue compared to everything else. So yeah, so I just wanted to throw that little bit in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So next question that I had for you is this is now that I'm looking at this, those are all kind of stacking up on top of each other with this conversation. But right, so we started off talking about motivation, right? We started off talking about that, how do we get motivated, how we find our calling and everything. And then we moved on from there to the goals, right? So when you're in the grind, you have the goals. During these goals, and like we talked about with the roadblocks and everything, you will experience self-doubt. You will experience the negative self-talk. It's going to happen. No matter how famous a person you idolize you think is, they have the negative self-talk. They have the negative self-doubt. They have all these things that happen to them. How do we overcome that? What steps can we take? What can we do so that when this negative self-talk and this talk of I don't think I could do this anymore, why am I doing this? I'm not sure why I'm doing this. What can we do to overcome that and get back on the track of getting towards what we actually wanted to do?
Great question. 85% of the thoughts, approximately 85% of the thoughts we think are negative. If that's the case, how can we possibly or even hope to achieve anything meaningful in life? In order to achieve something meaningful in life, we have to start eliminating as many negative thoughts as possible. So you eliminate the negative thoughts and you put in the positive thoughts. Two techniques that I use with my clients. One is whenever you start to think something negatively, think of this huge stop sign just coming up at your forehead, just pops up in your forehead and says stop. And everything is habit. So you have to keep doing that over and over. Every single time you think a negative thought, before you even finish it, before you even get to the middle part of it, bring that stop sign up. The other example is when you start a negative thought, think of a vacuum cleaner just going across your forehead and just picking up all that toxic stuff and just getting rid of it. Now, are you going to eliminate every negative thought? Absolutely not. But that's not the goal. The goal is to eliminate as many negative thoughts as you can, because now you start filling in your thought process with positive stuff. And it takes time, but it comes back to, why do we put negative thoughts in our mind? Because it has to do with, a good part has to do with low self-esteem. Okay. People, and
Mm-hmm.
like you said, somebody tries a goal, they come across a roadblock and they stop, they quit. They do it again for another goal. They don't get what they want, so they quit. So it's repetition. It's putting in the positive thoughts and eliminating the negative thoughts. And that's where the start is. And I tell people too, take a look at who you are as an individual. Okay. Why are you putting those negative thoughts in your head? Why? Obviously, it's self esteem, but why not start putting positive thoughts in your head, saying, boy, I am good. I am fantastic. I have a lot of strength. I have a lot of courage. I have a lot of determination. Because all of those positive thoughts are going to bring you one thing, if you stay committed to your goals, and that is victory. Either you're going to be the victor or you're going to be the victim. Me, I chose to be the victor every single time. Now, I may not achieve a goal, but I will give it 100% of everything I've got. And I believe in myself as being the victor. Even though I don't accomplish it, it helps me understand what I need to do the next time. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to be willing to practice every single day the positive thoughts. Take out the negative thoughts. Put the positive thoughts in. I am a fantastic person. Think of it this way. Rashawn, you get out of bed in the morning and your best friend is sitting right there next to you and he says, you are fantastic. You're going to have a great day. Okay. You're eating breakfast and your best friend is sitting right there saying, I can't wait to see what you can accomplish today. I am so excited. Okay. You come home from work, you go to work, he's with you at work or she's with you at work. Man, you are so good at this. You come home, your best friend is there and he says, or she says, what a fantastic day. I am so proud of you of what you accomplished. I said, you're just incredible. Now, if that's your best friend, okay, your best friend should be yourself. Why, if you can accept that from your best
Mm.
friend, why would you not start saying these things about yourself? People, and I said this before, people don't realize how incredibly fantastic and amazing they really are. Life is tough, but if you can be committed and develop that strength to persevere, victory is at the end, at the finish line, waiting for you. So I would suggest to your audience to start eliminating as many negative thoughts as you possibly can. A little bit at a time. It's repetition, and you do it each and every day, and then that would be the start of developing a better mindset.
Mm-hmm. And if I could even add on to that as well, I would even say, on top of all of that as well, to control the people that you hang around. Because even though you can actually, like, yeah, and I feel like you want to add something to that too. So let me make this quick. Is that even though you yourself can, like, you can do the best you can, like you say, we can follow your advice that you gave and do the best we can and put the positive thoughts in your head and just take the vacuum cleaner, just suck out all the bad stuff, put the stop sign right there in front of your face and say, look, we're not doing this. Encourage yourself every single day. It can only go so far if you surround yourself with negative people.
That is absolutely right. Because one of the questions I ask is, who do you socialize with? And so many clients over the years have told me, oh, I socialize with these people. And I asked them to give me a little bit, tell me a little bit about each individual's personality. And a lot of times I look at the individual and I say, you're hanging out with the wrong people, because they're not motivated.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going after success. It's just, oh, let's go to a ball game or let's hang out tonight. Okay. You want to be with people that want to be successful, that want to make a tremendous impact in their lives and in the lives of everybody else. So you have to find those people.
Absolutely.
They're not hard to find, but you have to make that decision. Again, the 3 Ds: decisions, determine, direction. You have to make the decision to get away from the toxic people, or the people that just don't, or that are going to accept average in life. not one of your
Mhm.
listeners should accept average in life. They can achieve
Absolutely not.
great success. And a lot of that has to do with, like you said, surrounding yourself with the people that are determined, have a vision to be successful. And those are the people you hang out with, because those are the people that are going to give you the guidance to get where you want to be. And it's such
Mhm.
an incredible feeling when you're around people that only want to be successful. It's the energy is unbelievable. The confidence, you build tremendous confidence. But if you're with people that are just accepting average, that's all you'll be, because you're not around the right people. And you're right, you're absolutely right. Surround yourself with people that want nothing more than to achieve success and build and create a better quality of life for themselves.
Absolutely. I can attest to that 100% because a lot of times I was just, being in school and everything, people, especially like in high school, and again, nothing against the people that I knew in high school, nothing against people I knew in college, but some of them were just like, they were going a way that I personally did not want to go. And for me, I knew if I hung around them too much, I would start inheriting those bad ways. Because as they say, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time around. It's just how it is. Those people and their thought processes and the way that they act and the way that they think, it will penetrate into your brain and it will affect the way that you think and affect the way that you act and affect what you do. So, in order to do that, like I said, I attended my a while back. I attended a one of those a mastermind, right? I attended a mastermind, and it was the first mastermind I had ever attended, and let me tell you, it was refreshing to see that there's so many people who want the same thing, who want that success in their life, whatever it may be. And and when we were there, no two people there had, because it was a relatively smaller mastermind, but no two people there wanted the exact same goal. But
Right.
yet still we were all able to come together and we were all able to discuss what can we do that can allow us to get from where we are now to where we want to be, and how can we make steps to get there. And everybody's bouncing great ideas off each other. Everyone's high energy. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's like exchanging information. And I was like, this feels energized. I literally, and I know the mastermind was, it was like a 2 day long mastermind or so, and each session was a few hours. But still, even though it was a lot of information and a lot of connections and a lot of everything, I still felt more energized leaving the mastermind than before when I started.
Right.
And I was like, that was an absolutely amazing feeling. I walked away with so much information. I walked away with a hand cramp because I took so many notes. I walked away. But overall, it was a really good time. And I learned a lot of information. And some of those tips that I learned, I'm starting to implement into how I do this podcast now. And I'm starting to see some of the benefits of it starting to come out. So masterminds are helpful. And I urge anybody, if you're on the road to personal development, self-improvement, going towards success, I highly recommend attend at least one mastermind in your life.
Absolutely.
At least one, because I guarantee you it is the healthiest drug you will ever be on. Okay. Once you attend one, you want to attend more. Okay? I'm telling you, 100%.
It's a great feeling. It really is.
Absolutely. So I have two more questions for
Sure.
you. Well, two more, and then a little bit of a curveball since we're starting to get a little closer towards time here. But what is your favorite part about helping people? Because obviously, being a life coach, you obviously enjoy what you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. So, what is your favorite part about helping people? The one thing, or maybe it's more than one thing, that's cool too, that keeps bringing you back and saying this is the core crux reason of why I do what I do.
I would say the number one reason why I do this is having the ability to change somebody's life and seeing the end result. When I was in the prison, my heart went out to these two inmates because they made the wrong decisions. So they will never have an opportunity to change their life. But any client that comes before me, I am determined to make sure that they reach that goal. And the only time I'll quit on them is if they quit on themselves. And I will make damn sure that that doesn't happen. Okay. But to
Mm-hmm.
see somebody that's really down and out, that does want the coaching, and as we go forward, you start to see the confidence build, the energy. They become alive. It's fantastic. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's the end result, and looking at that individual and saying, "Wow, I knew this individual had the strength and the courage and the determination. They didn't have that in the beginning, but when they have it at the end, they most of them always say, Frank, I never thought I would ever have achieved something like this." But it's the end result me working with that individual as a team player is probably the greatest satisfaction I get from my business.
Mm. Absolutely, 100%. I do agree with that as well as that. That's kind of what I get out of this podcast too, because a lot of times people say podcast is a labor of love, and it truly is. You know, constantly posting episodes every week, constantly trying to schedule posts for Instagram, outreaching to other people. It's a lot of work, but me, I started this podcast with the idea that as long as I can help just one
Right.
person to become better, just one. I don't, of course, do I want to help hundreds and maybe even thousands one day? Of course, I want to
Yeah.
get there. Obviously, I want to get there.
Yes.
But let me start small, simple steps towards that goal. Let me help just one. If I can help just one person will come to me and send me a DM or send me an email or send me a voicemail or however you want to get in contact with me, however it is, and say, Rashawn, thank you so much for that episode, whatever number it was, or that interview with insert the person's name here, as I really got a good amount of information from it. That's all I need. That's all I need to know that, hey, this is impacting people. This is why I'm doing this. I'm impacting people. I'm helping people.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling
It absolutely
to
is.
be able to help somebody who really lost hope in themselves, but to pick them back up and to see them move forward and achieve something that they never thought possible is one of the greatest feelings in the world. And you have that feeling as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It like you said, it is a fantastic feeling, because once you're able to do that and you see somebody who just essentially gave up on themselves, as you said before, and then you could tell them, look, this is not the end, right? As I mean, let me put it this way. I tell people, sometimes tell people this, and it comes off a little bit shocking at first, but the concept behind it is what I'm trying to get through, right? I tell the person, like, look, you're still here. You're not dead yet. That means you still have purpose on this earth. You still have stuff you need to do. If your purpose was fulfilled, you would be gone already. You're not gone. You're still here, which means there's still stuff for you to do. There's still things for you to accomplish. There's still people you have to impact. So you sitting here saying there's nothing else for me to do, that's an insult on people that believe in you. That's an insult on God. That's an insult on everybody and everything that you know or that people know about you. That is a complete insult, because you're saying you have nothing else to give. You're still here. Keep on giving. Keep on impacting. I guarantee you're going to feel a whole lot better, especially when you put other people first. It's funny how that works, isn't it? When you put yourself first, it's kind of like a me all the time. And while it might be like a short-term intrinsic, like, yeah, this feels kind of good, you're always chasing the next best thing. But when you put other people first and you help other people, somehow that just makes you feel so much more fulfilled on the inside, that somebody else is going out there, somebody else has renewed faith in themselves that they can go ahead and do great things. It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. It's a great feeling to know that you can contribute to someone who you could create who can create a better quality of life. You know, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Absolutely. All right. One more main question that I got for you, because we're starting to get close to time again. Okay, and I want to say I already know the answer to this question, but just because a lot of times people will have the doubts when they hear coaches and everybody talk. So the question is, do you follow your own advice? Because I'll get the question before, like, Rashawn, you're talking about all these goal settings, you're talking about this waking up, you're talking about this, talking about that. Do you do it yourself? And I'm like, so I guess we got to ask you the question too. Do you follow your own advice?
I absolutely do. Absolutely. There's a routine that I do every single day. I do come across roadblocks, and I do look at roadblocks as a friend, tell me to go a different way. But yes, I wouldn't be in this field if I didn't do it myself, because I have to lead by example. So if I'm going to ask other people to do it, I have to do it myself. And I have the same setbacks as everybody else. But one thing I will never, ever do is quit on myself. And that's one thing I never do with my clients. I will never quit on a client, because I know what they're capable of achieving. It's just a matter of getting through the tough moments. That's all. But I have a very strict routine. Yes.
There we go. I had a feeling it was going to be a yes, because I mean, everybody most people who preach about these things, like how I do and how you do, we have to follow, we have to do what we say, we have to practice what we preach. Otherwise, where's the credibility? We're just a person on the internet or a person that's trying to promote ourselves doing things, and you don't have any credibility because you don't do it yourself.
That's
So,
correct.
yeah, I mean, I just had to put it out there. Like, yes, he does follow his own advice, guys. He doesn't just spit out a bunch of mumbo jumbo. He does what he says. He practices what he preaches. All right, cool. So, two more questions that I asked. I asked pretty much like all my guests as kind of the closing
Sure.
out. So, we've had this long conversation, and the same scenario I give every time. Let's say somebody was listening or watching this episode online, and they're just like, and they just woke up, the dried saliva off the side of the lips and everything, and they're just like, okay, oh, I just woke up. Oh crap, it's been 50 minutes. Oh man, I missed the entire episode. What is one piece of wisdom that if the person just woke up just now, what is one piece of advice or wisdom that you would give to them? It could be something new. It could be something that you already said in the episode thus far. But what is one piece of parting wisdom? The kind of the sentence that just goes, if you got nothing else from this episode, here's what I want you to get.
Great question. And I did mention it a couple of times. I would tell anyone in your audience that's listening to never, ever give up on themselves. I know it might sound like a broken record, but when you get out of bed every morning, that is a gift that should not be wasted. You have a gift to help yourself become better. You're given a gift to help other people. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be saying hello to someone or giving a smile to someone. But as an individual, don't ever, ever give up on yourself. And I'm so big on this because I've been doing this for years and I know what people are capable of doing. And everyone can achieve great success. And that's determined by them as to what their great success would be. But to get up every morning and go through the same process every single day is a little confusing to me. Okay, you have to do something different, regardless of how small it might be. But don't ever give up on yourself because you're the only one who's truly going to believe in yourself. Other people may quit on you. Other people may tell you you're not going to achieve your goals. If somebody ever tells you that, oh, that's impossible, you just look at them and say, watch me get it done. Okay, bring that confidence in. And again, if it has to do with lack of confidence, find a friend, find a mentor, hire a coach to help build that confidence, because once you build that foundation of confidence, you will be unstoppable. I'm very big on self-esteem, very big.
Absolutely. And then just a small little tidbit of mine from that is, I think it was Steve Harvey who said it one time, but he said you don't tell your big minded dreams to small minded
That's
people,
right.
because they're literally they're going to just tear it down. You were given the gift to see this dream, this vision that you had. Why are you sharing with a bunch of other people? Because all that's doing, in the way I think about it, all that's doing, number one, you're inviting a lot more accountability, whether
Right.
you want it or not. And number two, you're also inviting the possibility, very large possibility, that there's going to be someone who's either like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Or like you said, someone's just going to be like, you can't do it. It is what it is. They don't know you. So just keep that idea to yourself, work on it, focus on it, grind at it, and you'll succeed
That's
at it.
right. Correct.
Awesome. And so last thing I got for you, at the end of this episode, if people are just fascinated by it, they're just like, wow, like Frank, he's absolutely a great guy, great life coach. Maybe they want to take you on as actual life coach, or they just want to find more information about you. What's your call to action? What do you want people to do after this episode to go get more information, find out more? What steps do you want them to take? Just any kind of action that you want people to take after this
What I
episode.
would suggest is that they sit down, grab a piece of paper and a pen, and write down what they want to achieve in life. What's so important to them that they will truly pursue it? And just think about it for a couple of days. Write down the top 10 things you'd like to achieve in life, and then number them by priority. And then whatever's number one, you go after that one first, two, three, and all the way up to 10. But sit down and really think about who you are and where you are and what you want to accomplish in life. And they're more than welcome. They can reach out to me. My email is frankwilliams@mbxlife.com. smallmindedlife.com, or they can call me at 201-614-5566. But you have to become aware of who you are. And once you become aware of that, who you are, you'll be unstoppable if you're committed to pursuing your dreams.
Absolutely. And for all the listeners or people watching on YouTube or wherever you're watching this, those the links to what he just said, they will be down in the description, in this episode description or the video description, wherever you're watching or listening. So you could be able to go and access those as well. So without further ado, thank you, Frank. I appreciate the time that you spent on this episode. Thank you so much for bestowing your wisdom.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, you were the one who just bestowed all this wonderful wisdom on us, and I definitely took a couple things from this episode as well. Definitely the 3Ds: decision, determine, and direction. That definitely stuck with me. So I mean, I'm learning just as much as the listeners are learning. So I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much again for coming on the show. And hey, maybe we'll have you as a repeat guest one day. Who knows?
Would love to be back.
Absolutely. That sounds fantastic. All right, listeners, lovely audience members. It's been me. It's been great. Here's Frank. You already know. All right, you guys. Take care. I will see you all when I see you all next episode, next week. Take care. And with that, I'm going to